Hi, I'm Cosmic Scowl, the developer behind the PSBBN Definitive English patch. Here's this month's update on everything that's new with PSBBN. In my last video, I focused on Homebrew support and how to install ELF files. Homebrew support has now been expanded to also support the Save Application System, or SAS for short. The Save Application System is a new standard for distributing Homebrew applications on the PS2. Currently in beta, it already has over 20 apps available for download from the Save Application System Apps Archive, with a lot more coming soon. All SAS compliant apps come packed in a PSU file and include icons and metadata, making it the recommended way to install Homebrew on PSBBN. This system allows apps to be grouped in the PSBBN game channel by categories such as games, apps and emulators, ensures that all apps are named correctly and display publisher information. Additionally, more information about the apps can be viewed in OPL. You will find a link to the Save Application System Apps Archive in the video description. To install SAS apps on PSBBN, simply place your downloaded PSU files into the Games/Apps folder on your PC, along with any ELF files, then run the game installer script. All SAS compliant apps include 3D icons for the PS2's browser. I thought it would be a shame not to be able to see them, so I decided to add support for HDD OSD and Browser 2.0. HDD OSD was distributed by Sony with the official HDD add-on in Japan, and in America with the Final Fantasy XI bundle. It predates PSBBN and is very similar to the stock OSD that ships with the console, but it adds the ability to browse files stored on the hard drive. I updated the game installer to download and apply 3D icons for every game in your game collection. There are different types of cases for different games. For PS1 games, there are standard CD cases, PAL or Japanese cases, and multi-disc cases. There are two variants for PS2 games, black for NTSC games and blue for PAL games. Games that do not have a box icon are represented by a disc icon. PS1 games as a black CD, PS2 CD games as a blue CD, and PS2 DVDs as a DVD. Scroll through all your games and you'll find your Homebrew apps, including all your SAS apps. Games and apps can also be launched directly from Browser 2.0 by pressing the cross button. That brings me to the all-new HDD OSD icon database. When you run the game installer, 3D icons for your games are downloaded from here. Currently there are over 150 icons for some of the best PS2 and PS1 games. I created these icons over 3 years ago for my personal collection before I started playing with PSBBN. I don't plan to make any more icons myself, but I've put together a guide and templates so anyone can make their own. If you have a basic understanding of how to use GIMP, then it's pretty easy and quick to make an icon. If you do decide to make your own icons, you can submit them to this database for everyone to use. You'll find details on the GitHub and in the README included with the templates. All the links you need will be in the description. So how do you install HDD OSD? There's a new script for installing optional extras. Simply double click on the extra script and select option 1. When that completes, to add HDD OSD to the PSBBN game channel and to download the new icons, simply rerun the game installer script. If your drive is larger than 1 TB, you may experience issues when using HDD OSD. Hopefully support for larger drives can be addressed in a future update. That brings me to the other option in the extra script. You can now install and uninstall the PlayStation 2 Basic Bootloader, better known as PS2 BBL. With this, when you turn on your console, holding a button on the controller can determine which application is launched. By default, it will also boot into PSBBN. If you hold down the cross button when powering on the console, it will boot directly into HDD OSD. PS2 BBL is fully configurable by editing the config.ini file stored on the hard drive at sysconf/PS2BBL. You can find details on how to edit the config file on the PS2 BBL GitHub. A link will also be in the description. In other news, I have received numerous requests regarding the possibilities of translating PSBBN into other languages, so I decided to put together a translation pack. If you are interested in translating PSBBN into your native language, you can find a download link to the translation pack in the description. Completed translations can be added to the PSBBN installer, making the project multilingual. The original Japanese version will also be added in a future update. Finally, for Windows users, DamnZero has written an excellent guide on how to use the PSBBN installer and game installer using the Windows Subsystem for Linux. Windows Subsystem for Linux, or WSL, is a feature of Microsoft Windows that allows you to use Linux applications from within Windows. If you are a Windows user, I recommend giving it a try. A link to the guide will be in the description. That just about covers everything for this month. If you appreciate the work I'm putting into the PSBBN Definitive English patch and would like to support its continued development, you can contribute to my Ko-fi. You will find a link in the description and the pinned comment. I still have many updates in the pipeline, including the much requested update to the game installer that will allow you to add games rather than requiring a full sync. If you want to keep up to date with the latest developments, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky or Ko-fi. As always, all links will be in the description, but for now, this is Cosmic Scale signing out.